Greetings, beloved hearts. It is I, Leto, who greet you this day. And I speak to you this day from the fifth dimension of your beloved planet Earth, our beloved planet Earth. And I am grateful for this opportunity to be with you. Indeed, would it not be wonderful to speak to the mass of the people of Earth? Yet that hour has not arrived. Most people on Earth do not know of the spiritual hierarchy of ascended beings, angelic beings, great cosmic beings, who live in the higher dimensions of Earth, do not know of us due to their various beliefs. Some even reject the notion of the reality of our existence. Yet to those of you who do accept your spiritual hierarchy, I, Leto, say to you, but never in the history of humankind has the consciousness of the people of Earth been so united and come together in their awareness of the pandemic that is on your Earth, and come together as one people, seeking to unite and to overcome this present storm. As we in the ascended realms, as we observe how the global consciousness of the people are aware of what is going on in your earth plane, there is an opportunity here. There is an opportunity where those of you who are doing everything in your lives to spiritually grow, to heal yourselves, to free yourselves of fear. Again, I say, your consciousness becomes an open door where you can begin to reach and influence the mass of the people. In truth, consciousness is one, and we are all divine individualizations of that one consciousness. Yet in the mass of the people, that consciousness is fragmented, and most do not even know that they are living the consciousness of the book of knowledge of good and evil. A consciousness acting in the people that believes in two powers. And as creator beings, we watch as the people of Earth create manifestations that are both negative and positive. To all of you who study via various spiritual paths upon the earth, each of you are upon a path of becoming whole once again. And it is all of you who are beginning to divinely influence the consciousness of the people of Earth. As I and other ascended beings and the angels live in the fifth dimension of your Earth, know, beloved hearts, that no people living in one dimension can interfere with the people who live in other dimensional realities. We would love, all of us, would love to come into your octave and help your people. It is not that we would come and fix every problem that is taking place in the outer world. Rather, the more that we are invited, we would come and pour the oneness, the light, and the love of our divinity into the minds and hearts of the people of Earth. We would come to teach. We would seek to raise the consciousness of the people, to awaken them, so that the people can begin to live and enjoy and create in accordance to the consciousness of oneness, one presence, one power, one intelligence, acting in their lives in such magnificent perfection. You, beloved hearts, especially as you meditate, as you study the higher truths, the tree of life, each of you, you are helping your humanity when you know the truth, the consciousness of oneness, of omniscience, of universal consciousness. And acknowledging this, slowly yet surely, the consciousness of the people everywhere begin to receive divine impulses and influence by the greater consciousness of light and love, of wholeness, that each of you are seeking to rightfully attain in the lives you have been given. I urge you, in realizing, albeit through suffering, that the consciousness of the people are so united in all that they are aware of the current storm in your world, that in your meditations, if you would acknowledge the truth of every person, and it does not matter whether that truth is acting or expressing through every person, it matters that some of you, each of you seeking to spiritually evolve, to grow, to attain, that in your meditations, that you would take precious moments, that you would acknowledge and accept that the universal consciousness of oneness is the truth of every person, whether they are expressing that consciousness or not. Sometimes this higher consciousness has been referred to as the Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness, Krishna consciousness. It matters not the name you call it, if you understand the context of what you are referring to. I would always urge each of you, if you can acknowledge that there is a higher consciousness where no longer is there suffering taking place in the lives of the people, that this universal consciousness of polarity, of oneness, is the actual truth of every person on earth. As you hold and acknowledge this truth in your own consciousness, and if you will know that consciousness is one, and even though we are each unique, we are each provided the breath of life, and each one given the free will, the creative spark, as to how they will express their consciousness, their life. Yet at this time, when so many people in the earth are aware of the suffering in the world, even in this fragmented state of consciousness, each of you, beloved hearts, you can reach the minds and hearts of the people of earth. You can understand that as you acknowledge the highest truth of every person on earth, it does not matter whether they are expressing that truth. It matters that some of you on earth will acknowledge deep within your own being the united universal consciousness of life that knows only perfection. Mother Akasha, in her Tree of Life's studies, has presented to you many meditations, the practitioner's treatment, demonstration treatments, attainment meditations, the metamorphosis meditation. Each of these based upon the universal truth that personal and direct contact with God is now available to each of you in the silence of the moment, revealing that for too long hidden within the inner chambers of your own consciousness abides your true self, your complete, whole spiritual self, a magnificent self that is the only begotten, a grand cosmic being within you that is the infinite individualization of Mother, Father, God. It is in your heartfelt acknowledgement, recognition, and acceptance of this truth, and perhaps a greater realization that for centuries of time, this inner masterful presence that is your true God self has been knocking upon the door of your outer consciousness. And in truth, is that mighty source that seeks to divinely influence you, to guide you, to take you by the hand, and is the original source of all divine inspiration that seeks to act in your life. You, beloved precious hearts, as humanity comes together, if each of you in your meditations and your own inner knowing will quietly acknowledge the universal consciousness of oneness that is the truth of every person on earth, a consciousness of light, of love, then this knowing will influence the mass of the people and make a mighty difference. We would love to come into your realm. Yet it's not that we would fix things, as I stated. We would use all means to lift and raise the consciousness of the people back into the unity and consciousness of oneness. So the people themselves can observe how the problems and the suffering that is taking place in their lives suddenly disappears as they live in this higher consciousness. And as each of you become the truth of who you are, and you invite the ascended and angelic host into your world, we will then come and we will help you to repair and balance the powers of nature and the forces of the elements. We will help you to repair your planet. I ask each of you as you turn within to speak to the great God presence that abides within the inner chambers of your consciousness, and ask that Master Presence to reveal to you the truth of who you are. Every day, send this message to the great Master Presence within you, asking that presence to reveal the truth of who you are. And watch how in your own awareness this truth of who you are will surely rise in you as the sun rises each day. Oh, beloved hearts, I ask you to realize that it is the absence of love, true love, that is the primal cause of all suffering. And that the father or mother of sufferance is really the activity of love that is trying to break through the darkness. that has been in your world. Each of you have learned to survive in a world of such limitation and darkness, and you have learned to be as constructive as you can. It is the absence of love that is the primal cause of suffering. In the absence of light, beloved hearts, we lose our way for a while. But that doesn't cause suffering. It is the absence of love, the greatest love of all. Not human love that is so often compromised by painful emotions, human beliefs, perceptions, or race consciousness. I speak of a love that is 1,000 times more than even unconditional love. I speak of a divine love that is so generous and full of charity. Love that is enough to fill this universe with an abundance of every good thing. A love that asks nothing for itself. Love that seeks to give. This love is found deep within your hearts in a secret most place. It is found in the depths of your soul. It is found in the heart of the great God Self that for too long has been hidden in the inner chambers of your own consciousness. Yet a master God Self that is seeking to rise and come forth into expression in each of you. I, Leto, invite you with greater conviction to recognize and to accept the mighty God power of love, divine love, that abides within your heart. I invite you to know that any desire for greater light, greater love, and truth is the presence of God that is acting in your desire side of life. I invite you to know that any and every ascended master who has the opportunity to speak directly to you will always refer to those mighty words, I am. Many of you have become aware of how sacred they are. And that the very declaration of those words, I am, will always draw forth more light and more love in each of you. The Master Jesus knew of these sacred words. and lost in the teachings presented in the New Testament is how often the Master Jesus used those words, I am, in so many different ways. How often he spoke, he affirmed, he knew. I am is the full activity of life. And I would remind you, beloved hearts, that when you take that mighty statement that Jesus gave, I am the resurrection and the life. If you, with conviction, will speak those mighty words, I am the resurrection and the life, in thought and feeling. I am in me is the resurrection and the life. With as much feeling as you can. That you would understand, beloved hearts, the conviction, the affirmation of this truth. This then turns all your energy of your being to the center of your physical heart and the center of your brain. And this begins to build the divine radiance and balance of light and love of your own God source to express more and more through your life on earth. And if you were to try a little exercise of slowly affirming that mighty truth and owning it, I am in me is the resurrection and the life. And you will hold your attention upon the center of your physical heart for a minute while you affirm inwardly or outwardly that beloved statement that Jesus gave. And then, after a minute of holding your attention upon your heart, that you would turn your attention into the center of your brain or the top of your head and continue for another minute to affirm slowly that mighty statement over and over. This again will build a divine radiance of your own God light and God love that will build in your physical garments and begin to radiate out into your lives. Beloved, precious hearts, unlike any other century, the door is now open for anyone who chooses to walk through. As each of you give conscious recognition of your own divinity, individualized, of the Heavenly Father and the Heavenly Mother. As you recognize that your own divinity is stored within your heart, within your inner consciousness, within your higher self, the I Am Presence. And in this recognition of your own inherited God divinity, you turn your attention to the angels and the ascended masters and ask us to fill you with much more light and love than each of you have the means. To live in the world, yet no longer be of it. To sustain and maintain a radiation of frequency, of light and love that so influences and colors all the energy of your life. And that reaches a level where you begin to live, where many of you are living now, above the energies of discord and disease that are in the outer world. We have watched how humanity has suffered by living from the outside in, always reacting to what is going on outside of themselves. And as the Son teaches, to get out of this long-standing habit, to remind yourselves, it is better to ask yourselves how you will respond. How you will respond, rather than reacting. And as each of you have discovered all the God treasures that have been hidden within and above you, and you begin to live more and more from the innermost place of your being, and you command your own inner light and love and presence to pour out into the world, each of you now are beginning to live from the inside out. And it is in this place you are in the world, yet not of it. You come to that place where the discord and the diseases of the outer world no longer touch you. You have become a mighty outpouring of light. Within each of you, long has a master presence of your own divinity been hidden deep within your consciousness. Yet now, through your studies, your efforts, your meditations, each of you are connecting with your own master presence within you. It is rising. You are lifting and raising your lives above the energy of all that is acting in the outer world. Therefore, beloved hearts, know I in me lifts me and raises me to the highest frequency, energy of light and love, fully balanced in my heart, my brain, and my body. I am in me is the full, balanced activity of life. I am in me is the resurrection and the life in thoughts, in feelings, and the very cells of the atomic structure of my physical body. I am, by all God's love, I know I am. And if each of you care to call upon me, I am known in the fifth dimension as the world teacher, Lady Leto. And at any time that you would like to turn your attention to me and call upon me, Leto, to overlight you, to pour the radiation and the light and love of my consciousness into your daily consciousness, I will. I know that you exist. And if you use your free will and invite myself and others of the angelic and ascended hosts that you have come to accept and recognize, we are remembering you. Remember us. You are not alone. And we will come and overlight you with our consciousness. It is time that each of you discover the wonderful, the magnificent, and beautiful truth of who you really are. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.